Welcome to 40K Dataslate Review. In this video, we'll be taking a look at the Asuryani unit, Dark Reapers.
40K Dataslate Review.
Dark Reapers have been showing up quite a bit in the 40K tournament meta. They were in the winning list of the LVO 2018, as well as quite a few other high-profile tournaments. While the changes due to the rule of 3 dataslates changes a lot of lists that include Dark Reapers, they will still show up. They also have received a few point increases and are still well used, so it goes to show you how unbalanced they were before the nerfs. In the end, Eldari players can worry not, because the Reapers are still an incredible unit. Dark Reapers are actually somewhat slow compared to other Asuryani models, with an average 6-inch movement. Defensively, the Reapers are a sheet of wet paper, toughness 3, 3-up save, and leadership 8. They die to a strong breeze and may even lose some models to leadership tests if you aren't careful. Dark Reaper's strength comes in their ranged ability. Each model is equipped with a Reaper launcher, and this thing is pretty brutal. The weapon has 2 profiles, and the Craftworlds player can choose one each time they fire. Both fire at 48 inches, and both are heavy with AP-2. The first profile is good for taking out heavy targets like monsters and vehicles. One shot at strength 8, AP-2, damage 3. Having that straight damage 3 is really dependable. The second profile is better for taking out heavy infantry. Heavy 2, Strength 5, AP-2, Damage 2. Screw Primaris Marines, because this gun deletes them. It's also good for taking out infantry with a Feel No Pain save, like Plague Bearers, since it does 2 damage. Feel No Pain is a tough time protecting infantry from multi-damage attacks. This gun is not the only advantage the Dark Reapers have at ranged combat. Their ability, Inescapable Accuracy, is devastating. This ability allows the Reapers to ignore all to-hit modifiers and always hit on a 3-up, meaning they could move and be shooting at Alpha Legion, Raven Guard, or similar army with -1 to hit, and the Reaper's guns would still land on 3s. This becomes extremely dangerous when you realize they can hide behind a line of sight blocking terrain, then pop out and shoot. It also means they have a threat range of 54 inches. The Reaper launcher is not the only weapon option for Dark Reapers. The champion model can choose between a Shuriken Cannon, an Eldari missile launcher, or a Tempest launcher. The Shuriken Cannon is a familiar weapon to Asuryani forces, 24-inch, Assault 3, Strength 6. When you roll a 6 to wound, it goes to AP 3. This thing really doesn't complement the Reaper launchers, and is better left out. The Eldari missile launcher is very similar to the Reaper launcher, both in that it has 2 modes and it fires at 48 inches. The first weapon profile is Heavy D6, Strength 4, AP-1, 1 damage. And the second profile is much like the Reaper launcher's anti-heavy mode. Heavy 1, Strength 8, AP-2, D6 damage. Comparing the 2 profiles side by side with the Reaper launcher, the anti-infantry shot on the missile launcher is more attuned to taking out weak infantry, while the Reaper launcher takes out heavy infantry. When comparing the single shot, anti-heavy profile, the missile launcher sacrifices the constant 3 damage for D6. I know this gives you the chance to get 4, 5, or even 6 damage out of a single shot, but I'd pretty much always opt for the reliable 3 damage. In general, I prefer constant damage over random. If you roll a 1 or 2 on damage for the missile launcher, not only would you probably been better off shooting the weaker Reaper launcher profile, you are now stuck deciding whether or not to waste a CP on the command reroll. For these reasons, I think the Reaper launcher is better in both of its firing modes than the Eldari missile launcher. The final weapon option is most definitely the best. This weapon fires at 36 inches, obviously a bit shorter than the Reaper launchers, but fires 2d6 shots. The shots are Strength 4, AP-2. The kicker here is the Tempest launcher can fire targets out of line of sight. We all know how devastating Astra Militarum mortar teams can be. Well, each Tempest launcher is like 2 mortar teams on steroids. This weapon is great if the other Dark Reapers are using their anti-infantry profile, but if they are using the anti-heavy profile, the Exarch can aim at a different target. Send the Tempest launcher at a unit holding an objective, otherwise presumed safe since it was behind line of sight blocking terrain. Don't forget that the Exarch of the unit can reroll 1s to hit with ranged weapons, making these shots even more accurate. Dark Reapers come in units of 3 minimum and cost around 30 points. They have been climbing in points for quite a while, but I presume they are about done fluctuating in cost. Dark Reapers can expand to up to 10 models in a single unit and take up a heavy support slot. There are 2 main ways to run Dark Reapers: minimum size squads with the Tempest launcher, or full to near full sized units for maximum benefit from stratagems and other abilities. Before the rule of 3 dataslates, players were taking 4 or even more units of Dark Reapers, having many at bare minimum for the Tempest launchers, and then 1 or 2 at full or near full strength as a main source of damage. The minimum size squads would sit out of line of sight, picking off the enemy's screen and objective holders. This was a strategy found in the winning list of LVO, as well as many other top lists. This strategy still works, though the ingredients are more expensive and you can only have 3 units max. The minimum size squads will be somewhat less common, but Asuryani and Inari players will often still at least take a larger unit of Dark Reapers as their primary range damage dealer. Combos and synergies with the Dark Reapers are fairly in-depth, as they are obviously part of a grander soup army, the Eldari. Not only can they make use of Craftworld attributes, but they can be a part of the Inari force. This can create some somewhat contentious situations. This may later be FAQ'd, but currently Asuryani models such as Dark Reapers can choose a Craftworld and still be part of Inari. Though they lose the Craftworld's attribute, they still have the keyword for synergistic purposes. Personally, I find this somewhat confusing, but whatever. If the Dark Reapers stay in an Asuryani detachment, only one attribute will really come in handy: Alitak. If you've played against Craftworlds since they got their book, you are likely familiar with this ubiquitous attribute. When shooting at Alitak models, enemies subtract 1 from hit rolls if they target from outside 12 inches. This is pretty obviously beneficial to Dark Reapers. The durability boost is a welcome one. Taken in an Inari force, the Reapers would miss out on the durability, but still benefit from friendly buffs that only affect Alitak models. In an Inari force, the Reapers would gain strength from death, allowing them to perform soul bursts. This would allow the unit to do an action out of sequence. About 99% of the time, this will be used to shoot again. 9 or 10 Dark Reapers shooting twice is absolutely devastating to most targets. To perform a soul burst, the unit has to be within 7 inches of a target that was destroyed. For Dark Reapers, this will be tough as they shoot from long distance. Luckily for Inari, they have a way around that, a psychic power called Word of the Phoenix. Now that it's an 8 to cast, players cannot really rely on getting this off each turn like they once did. It is still a great tool to have, and effectively doubles the Reaper's damage each turn it's used. These faction keywords are where it gets somewhat confusing. Before the latest balancing to Asuryani forces, people were taking 2 units of 9 or 10 Reapers, one being Alitak Craftworlds, the other being Alitak Inari. The Craftworld unit got the -1 to hit, while the Inari one would be given Word of the Phoenix each turn to fire twice. As well as this, the Inari one can still benefit from unit synergies of the other units since they have the Alitak keyword. Not only this, but because of Yanid's will, the Dark Reapers can be put in an Alitak Wave Serpent and still, indirectly, benefit from the -1 to hit. Ugh. A common tactic was to put both units of previously mentioned Dark Reapers each in a Wave Serpent before the game, and either put them in the webway or redeploy the units with the Phantasm stratagem before the game starts. This is an extremely devious tactic and really keeps the Dark Reapers from taking any damage before they shoot the first time. Speaking of the Phantasm stratagem, it can be used on the Dark Reapers directly as well, redeploying them and 3 other Asuryani units within the deployment zone before the game starts. If the enemy counter-deploys the Dark Reapers, just reposition them with Phantasm. Another stratagem, called Starhawk Missile, can be used in tandem with the Eldari Missile Launcher, giving the War Gear option a more viable use. When targeting a unit with Fly, the Missile Launcher only rolls 1 to hit roll, but if it does hit, it deals D3 mortal wounds. Stratagems like this are, in my mind, made to combat the hard to hit rule to give flyers a couple extra wounds. But Asuryani models, and more specifically Dark Reapers, have no trouble hitting flyers, as they don't degrade in ballistic skill. Spending a command point to do D3 mortal wounds when they normally do a flat 3 damage with almost the same amount of effort does not seem efficient to me. Feigned Retreat is a 2 CP stratagem that lets the unit shoot even if they fell back. This is great for keeping the unit from being tied up in combat, and with strength from death, they'd still be able to fire a second time, making engaging these models almost pointless other than to force them to waste a command point. Forewarned is another stratagem that works dangerously well with Dark Reapers. Use this when an enemy deploys from reserves. As long as a Farseer from the army can see the unit and is within 6 inches of the Dark Reapers, the Eldari player can spend 2 command points to immediately shoot the enemy unit. Not only is this absolutely devastating, allows the Dark Reapers to, yet again, fire out of sequence, but it plays some severe mental games with the opponent. Knowing your opponent can shoot your units from reserves is actually pretty scary and will make you think long and hard about trying to get the drop on Eldar players. Wow, those are some really good stratagems. Let's move... No, wait. Oh, Craftworlds has more insane stratagems. Great, let's keep going. Fire and Fade is one command point and allows the Dark Reapers to move after firing. So go ahead and fire the Dark Reapers twice before moving them 7 inches out of line of sight, keeping them annoyingly safe from enemy fire. What's that? You don't have any line of sight blocking terrain to hide behind? Well shit, lightning fast reaction is another incredibly effective stratagem that would give the Dark Reapers a -1 to hit modifier when being targeted in the shooting phase. Making your ally talk Reapers -2 to hit is so obnoxious and makes your paper-thin infantry almost impossible to hit. Taking out 10 single wound, toughness 3 infantry models is supposed to be easy, but not when they're Eldari. As far as other Eldari models go, there are even more ways to augment your Reapers. Sticking your Dark Reapers near an Autarch, or Moggan Ra, the Dark Reaper Phoenix Lord, would have them rerolling 1s to hit, perfect for increasing their deadly accuracy. Warlord traits can further expand the Autarch's role as a support character. Ambush of Blades can be chosen to give nearby models an additional AP when they roll a 6 to hit, making their shots AP -3s not bad. If you chose Biel-Tan as your craft world, you could use Natural Leader to reroll all hit rolls instead of just 1s. But let's face it, everyone uses Ally Talk. In an Ally Talk detachment, the Autarch can be given Puritanical Leader to protect the Reapers from leadership tests, allowing them to completely ignore the tests when within 6 inches of the HQ model. As mentioned before, Word of the Phoenix is a perfect psychic power to use with your Dark Reapers, but Warlocks, Spirit Seers, and Farseers all provide even more benefits in a Craftworld force. Many of the Runes of Discipline spells are viable options, and some are quite game-changing. There are 6 spells with 2 different effects each, depending on whether the target is friend or foe, so I won't go through every single use. Conceal would give them another -1 to hit, in case the -2 from Ally Talk and Lightning Fast Reflexes wasn't enough for you. Jinx would decrease enemy saving rolls by 1. Use this on durable targets, especially units with invulnerable saves, to really ruin their day. On the Runes of Fate side of the powers, Dark Reapers could be pumped up even more. Reroll all to hit rolls with Guide, and reroll to wound rolls with Doom. Obviously, Eldari have so many ways to enhance the Dark Reapers. Army builds including them often have a lot of variety. Reapers can be taken with little support in small MSU style units, or taken in a large unit to really make use of force multipliers like stratagems and psychic powers. Since they've been increased in points, and the increase to Word of the Phoenix's warp charge value, Dark Reapers may decline slightly in popularity. Players will still probably see them on the table, and many Eldari players will still field a unit of 9 or 10. Facing Dark Reapers can be extremely frustrating. Either you can't hit them because they've stacked up so many hit modifiers, or they're just straight up out of range or line of sight. If you can get a hold of the Scrawny Elves, they are easy to take out, so the main thing to remember is all their tricks to avoid taking damage. Remember, they can redeploy before the game starts, hide in a Wave Serpent, fall back and still shoot, stack negative modifiers to hit while ignoring yours, and shoot you when you deploy from reserves. If you plan to sink your whole army shooting into one unit of Eldari, you're gonna have a bad time between the Ally Talk attribute, lightning fast reactions, and conceal. The opponent can only protect 1 or 2 units with the accuracy modifiers, so either spread out your shooting or force the opponent to pop the stratagem on 1 unit only to switch targets to the Reapers. Don't forget Soul Burst, and note that every Inari Dark Reaper killed is really 2 Reapers dead. So if you have the choice between Craftworld or Inari Dark Reapers, always kill the Inari ones first. Facing Eldari is a lot about knowing what they can throw at you and anticipating how they will react. Unfortunately, this is easier said than done, as there are a lot of Eldari players currently, and they all have subtle differences in playstyle. Practice against the army is really the best advice I can offer. Dark Reapers receive a 4 out of 5. Although they are extremely powerful and likely an auto-include in any Asuryani force, each Reaper is so many points now and still only toughness 3 single wound models. In the end, I believe this balances them out. What do you think of Dark Reapers? Do you have any strategies for beating them? Let me know your thoughts, suggestions, and questions in the comments below, and thanks for watching.